up? My name is Alexandra Rosen, and today we're going to be talking about how to stay motivated while you're injured. So about 6 months ago, I was in an accident. I have been dealing with a physical injury for 6 months now, and I would be lying if I said it wasn't difficult. It's extremely difficult physically and mentally, dealing with this kind of stuff, especially when you're an athlete. So I'm going to talk a little bit about things that help keep me motivated and ways that I feel like have helped me to stay continually motivated to keep pushing. The first thing I want to say is definitely be aware of your feelings, pay attention to them. It's okay to be upset or sad or down about your injury or about the fact that you can't do the things that you enjoy or that you love. But with that, it's also important to pick yourself up. So feel your feelings, be in your feelings, but also remember that there's a time where you gotta just pick yourself up and face these things head on. So one of the best pieces of advice that I got actually was written on a card that I received from some of my friends, and it said, and everyone wrote really nice messages, but one of it said, this is a small setback for a major comeback. And for a lot of reasons, that really stuck with me. I kept thinking, I kept feeling like sorry for myself and thinking like I didn't do this to myself. This was someone else who did it to me. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I did everything that I could have to keep myself safe, and sometimes accidents happen. It's a setback, yes, and it feels like the end of the world, but sometimes it's going through things like this in life that set you up for that major comeback, for that extra fight, that extra push that you need to achieve your goals. And so I think for me, that was the best advice I had gotten, rather a few days after my accident, and it really stuck with me. So another thing that I do a lot, and this is super cheesy, but I watch a lot of inspiring or motivational documentaries. People who have gone through things, people who get injured while playing their sport or while performing or things like that, or people who are in accidents like me. And so for me, it's really uplifting, and it reminds me that there is an end to all of this. I think sometimes it's hard because reality sets in, and it's this is a 2-hour movie, and they get in the accident and then they're better by the end, and you forget how long that took. But knowing that you do come out on the other side is also really helpful and inspiring and motivating. So the biggest thing for me in terms of my personal, actual getting better, physically getting better, is remembering that your PT exercises are exercises. So I was so worried about, being out of shape, being lazy, having to lay in bed and just sitting there and losing muscle and all of that stuff, all of the endurance that I had built up, all of the strength I had built up was gonna be gone. And in some ways that is true. You will lose some of that. Naturally, that happens. But anytime, let's say you had your workout schedule, those times that you were supposed to be working out, you can replace with doing your PT exercises, things that will be contributing to your recovery, but also maintaining strength. Also, those exercises build strength, and although you might have lost a ton, so it doesn't feel like you're building strength, it ultimately is, and it's going to help you recover faster and also stay motivated, feel like you're doing something productive, feel like you're being active and not just laying in bed. something that keeps me motivated is having a purpose, having a goal set for myself for, okay, I'm going to take these steps to achieve this. So I'm now at the point where I'm like, I'm gonna do something bigger than I could have ever done before this. Had this not happened, I would have never done this or this. And so I decided that I'm a mediocre runner, biker, and swimmer. So my goal is to be able to do a triathlon. And it sounds crazy. It really does. But for me, having something to look forward to, having a goal, is what pushes me to get up every day, do my PT exercises, eat healthy, go on walks. So for me, my purpose, my goal in getting better is not just my dance career. It's also my own personal life goals. And I think that's really helpful because obviously I would like to get back to dancing, but dancing right now is something that I have a weird relationship with because of the injury, because when I had this accident, dance was taken away from me and I was really upset about that, and there were things I had to pull out of. But for me in that moment, it was like, wow, I just lost everything I loved, and just the thought of walking to the studio was really depressing and things like that. And so I have like this weird relationship with dance right now. So it's not necessarily the most motivating thing. Of course, it's always in my head. It's always something I want to get back to, and I will get back to it. But having my own personal little goal is also really helpful. The other thing I want to say is I was talking to my friend the other day because I was really frustrated about everything that's going on. And something I realized, and she said this, but I kind of put it into these words. You know the expression, days are long, but the years are short. And that makes sense to me because when you zoom in, each individual day sucks and each individual day seems long, and it seems like, well, you know, yesterday I did my PT exercises and today I'm not making any progress. They're still just as hard. But then in the grand scheme of things, when you zoom out, time goes by so quickly. And 6 months might seem like a long time. But realistically, when you have a big injury, it's not a long time. Most injuries will take you 6 months, even a year, to fully recover. And that's the unfortunate reality of it. So the fact that I have gotten through already 6 months of this injury seems crazy to me. It seems like this accident happened like a day ago. Like, it really doesn't seem that long, but it is, and I've made so much progress. I might not be where I want to be right now. Like, yeah, I would love to be training for a marathon or a triathlon right now. But that isn't where I am right now. But had I not put in the last 6 months of work, I wouldn't be here right now. And so that's also what keeps me going, is remembering each individual day may seem long and may be pretty miserable. But in the grand scheme of things, time's gonna go by quickly and I'm going to be running and biking and swimming in no time. So with all that, just remember that you are your biggest advocate and you're also your biggest obstacle. It's up to you to pick yourself up, and it's up to you to get creative, reminding yourself like, okay, what are other ways that I can achieve, that I can contribute to my goal that aren't physical? And I talked about that a little bit in my day in the life as a dancer video. So you could go watch that video if you're interested in that in terms of specifics for a dancer. But there are other ways to contribute to your goals, even athletic goals, that are not physical. So for me right now, I'm doing a lot of research into what kind of stretches I can do for runners, what kind of stretches I can do for bikers, swimmers, taking notes on things like when you do run a marathon, what kind of nutrition, what should you eat before, after, during, those kinds of things that I can do to get my mind ready. And so I can hit the ground running when I'm physically there. When I'm physically ready to start training, I already have all this information in my head and I've already done the research. So I'm ready. And yeah, so I hope that you find some of these tips helpful. This is what's helpful for me. And it's a long journey and it's not easy. and I wish I could say I'm in this good of a mood every day, but the reality is I'm not. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Please be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Share your stories with me. I'd love to hear them. And yeah, I'll see you next time.